Talk about me, I highly doubt it. So let me take you to a private
Hey
island.
y'all,
Take
what's
DD,
up?
don't cry about it.
I wanted to do this book review of this book I read. I finished reading. It's the personal history of Rachel Dupree. And you know what I realized? I understand now why there are no black people in North Dakota. There are less than 2% of the population are African American. And after I read this book, it gave me a better understanding of the Badlands. So this book was written by Amy Weisgarber. She wrote this a few years back, and the reason why I'm talking about it now is because Viola Davis is set to be one of the executive producers on this film, on this project. Naomi Harris is going to be, I guess she's going to play the role of Rachel Dupree. Her husband, I thought it was going to be Idris Elba, but his people have said he's not going to be on this project. So, my ears were perked up when I thought he was going to be in it, but I'm still going to watch the movie. I'm going to go out there and support it because there's never been a story told about the black woman aspect in the Badlands, in the Midwest, from a black female's perspective. Laura Ingalls Wilder, you have Little House on the Prairie, you have those, that type of scenario, but you've never heard it about the black women who live out there. So I was curious about that too. The feminists are gonna love this book. I'm gonna say it off the top because it doesn't end the way a romantic. It doesn't end in a romantic fashion. I'll say that. So let me get into the book and tell you what basically give you the gist of it. So hopefully you've read this book. Like I said, it's been out for a while, and if you're one of those people who like to read the book before you actually see the movie, then I think this will be a good book for you to read this summer. It is a little deep for some people. There's a lot of racism in the book, a lot of discrimination. There's adultery in the book. So just to forewarn you about that. I did want to put it down halfway because I was like, you know what? I'm really not feeling this right about now, but I hung in there, So if you're looking for just a fun, laid-back beach read, this is not the book for you. Okay, so the main character is Rachel Dupree. In the beginning of the story, she's living in the Badlands. It's 14 years she's been living there now with her husband, Isaac Dupree, her 5 children, the oldest being Mary, which she's 12 going on 13, and some baby daughters, and then her son, John. So as the story takes place, they're they have put their baby daughter, one of their younger daughters, not the baby, one of the younger daughters down into the well because there has been a drought all summer long, and there's no water. The milk cow belly is swollen and bloated. You can see the ribs on the cow. The children are starving. Everybody's thirsty. There's no rain in sight. And so they had no choice but to put Liz down into the well, one of the daughters into the well, so she could, cupful by cupful, scoop water into the bucket, and they would, bring it back up. And this was like really hard for Rachel because this is her daughter. Who wants to put their child into a well to get water so the whole family, can live a little bit longer? So think of the Great Dust Bowl. Think of that type of era. This took place in the setting was in 1917. It was after the Civil War, of course. Isaac, the husband, was actually a Buffalo soldier. He was a soldier in the Civil War. So Rachel is heavily pregnant as the story begins. And so even though she doesn't want to do this thing that she has to do, she knows it's for a bigger purpose. It also sets forth, it puts the wheel in motion of, is my husband making the best decisions for our family? Why would he send one of our daughters there? Why are we still in this place? Why are we out here where there's no one, no neighbor in sight? When you think of the Badlands, think of Mount Rushmore, okay? Because that's, pretty much that Mount Rushmore is in North Dakota. So Rachel starts thinking about her life. She starts thinking about her children, the things that she wants for her children, how lonely she is. She misses her mom. She's originally from Chicago. They have all these skyscrapers, and here her husband has brought her to the wilderness. And let me tell you how they meet, because it does talk about this in the book. Hopefully I won't give too much of it away. So Rachel was 25 years old when she met her husband, Isaac. She worked as a cook in this boarding house that was owned by Miss Dupree, Isaac's mom. He just came home from the war, not directly from the war, but he had come home from the war, came home to visit his mom, and he was so excited about the Homestead Act, about purchasing 160 acres for a little bit of nothing, for the low price. And it was offered to a single person. So Rachel, was like, you know what, this man is like a catch. He is so ambitious. He's unlike these other meat packer workers who live at this boarding house. She's kept her virginity, and she's just like, I'm holding out for a better prospect. So here Isaac shows up, in the kitchen, and she's like really just taken and smitten by him. And so she's like, you know what, this idea comes into her head that I will tell him I'll marry him, and I'll give him my 160 acres if he'll marry me. And she approaches Isaac with this idea, and he says, okay, fine, I'll marry you, just like that. And he was like, I'll do it for a few months. And she's like, no, you're gonna have to give me at least a year. We're gonna be married a year, because she figured she could sway him, because she loved this man and she wanted to be his wife. So a lot of what she's thinking, I think, within the book is, I asked for this. Sometimes you ask for things and you're like, really, was it really the best thing for me? Because they've had 8 children total, and 3 of them have died out there in the Badlands. I won't tell you how. You have to read the book to get the details for yourself. So basically, his mom is pissed because she's like, here my son, who is a great catch. His father was a doctor who had passed away, and here my son is my only child, a Buffalo soldier, a man of honor. He's marrying my cook. So she wasn't feeling that marriage at all. She never came to visit the kids. Her mother-in-law never came to visit her. Her own mother never came to visit her. She's out there. She's by herself. The closest black family is in another town away. So what kind of sets another thing that sets the wheel in motion is that their daughter is 12 years old, and she tells her mom, she's interested in this Native American kid that came to visit with his aunt. And her mom was like telling Isaac, look, there are no other black boys around. She has no choice but to date a white boy or an Indian. Now, it doesn't seem like a big deal in this day and age, but her dad, Isaac, was super racist. He was a Buffalo soldier. He was part of the massacre at Wounded Knee. And that was the last thing he wanted, was to think that his daughter was going to marry somebody outside of her race, especially a Native American. So he took it upon himself to arrange a marriage to a man, the closest rancher, which was twice his daughter's age. And once Rachel got wind of that, she definitely was like, you know what, me and my kids got to go. On top of that, they're starving. Isaac had, to start off with their marriage, 320 acres. And then as different ranchers would bow out and say, hey, look, we're going back to wherever we're going to, but we got to leave the Badlands because we're not making it out here. He would buy their land from him, buy the land from them. So Isaac was extremely land rich. He was land rich but money poor. But he was ambitious, and it seemed like at some point all he cared about was land. And his wife, he would go to town, he would bring supplies back, but it was barely enough to make ends meet. It wouldn't last long. I mean, they're eating soda biscuits, rationing water, putting drips on their tongue. I mean, they're really struggling. And here his mom is back in the city, making bread. And he was so stubborn, he refused to ask his mom for help. And not just because of Rachel, just because I guess he wanted to be a man of his own means. But your wife is looking toward from the floor up. Your wife works hard on the land just like you. Y'all really don't have a lot to show for it except for stoves, some hand-me-down furniture. You don't really have any money in the bank. And every single dime he gets, he goes and buys more cattle. That type of thing. So she was like, I'm not feeling this. So that's why I say the feminists are gonna like that approach. So she's pregnant. I think at the beginning of the book, she's about 5 months pregnant, with this baby. And she's just thinking about the way this winter is about to come and, what she's going to have to deal with. So Isaac is telling her, you know what, look, our cattle aren't making money because they're skinny and they're not selling well at the market. I'm going to go and have to work in the gold mine in this other town. And she's like, Isaac, don't go. Don't leave me. I'm pregnant. I'm with all these kids, Sorry, y'all. I'm with all these kids. Don't leave me. He's like, no, I gotta go because I don't want the farm to fail. And she's like, the ranch to fail. And he's like, he doesn't care what she's saying. So she has to make a choice. Either I stay out here this winter by myself, or I take my kids back to Chicago to my people. So she has to make that choice. So that's basically what the book is going to be about. And so but what the movie is going to be about. And I'm really interested. I don't know. I know they said Viola Davis was shopping it around, trying to get it green lighted. So I'm really excited to see how it's going to turn out. It'll be really interesting for those who like that type of book. So if you've read it, let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about my review. I know I have not included a lot of things because I don't really want to give away too many spoilers. I just wanted to get you interested in reading the book. Hopefully you will pick it up. I did read it online. I think I paid like $9 for it. It's always on the Google Play Store, or you can, if you have your iPhone, you can buy it through the bookstore. And I'm sure you can probably find it online somewhere. It's been out a while. So let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed the book. I would give it probably a 3-star because it was just so racist at some point. And Amy Weisgarber, I don't think she's a black woman, so it really wasn't written. There were some things that she said in the book that I'm thinking like a sister wouldn't have said that. So yeah. So I give it a 3 stars. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think. Comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for the next review.